Today, we're talking a little Filecoin. Grayscale wins a major blow against the SEC. And also, what is going on with that Algorand hack? This is Around the Blockchain. Welcome to Around the Blockchain. Make sure you go ahead, hit that like button. We got some great guests on today's show. We're going to get right into it. On the top left, he's still finishing that pizza. It is Ben Armstrong. Ben, getting ready for the meetup later tonight. That's right. If you're in the Atlanta area, come by 7 to 10 p.m. or the Atlanta leg of the book tour. Ben, are you excited about it? I just wanted to make sure I cut to you while you're still chewing. All right. Yeah, it's going to be a good time. Make sure
Very excited.
All right. Also,
I realized I had my mic off.
You can do some ASMR.
Hey, and we have Randy on the top right. That might be your next NFT collection. And Randy, how is it going today?
I am feeling good, feeling zesty as always. Thank you for having me. I'm happy to be here.
Zesty as always. And then we also have a William. Also, you can catch him at William Laurent 3. And William, I heard you're going to be stepping up that Web3 branding. Is that true or just a rumor?
Yeah, we'll get it stepped up. I'm still trying to find my way in this Web3 branding world, but I'm feeling good today. Got my laps in at the pool, and I'm ready to go here.
All right, you just got to switch your middle name and last name to start with the W, and then you're already there. And then to round it up, last but not least, we have Altcoin Daily. Altcoin Daily, how's it going today? It almost looks like, are you wearing a robe, or what do you have covering the tank top there?
Just came from an Orange Theory class. Feeling good, doing good. DZ, love being on here. Thanks for having me.
All right, I bet you're going to channel that orange energy into your orange square and maybe even take the victory today. But we're going to start with Filecoin, and I just want to share a little bit of a background of what is Filecoin. We're going to use, this is Coin Market Cap's description. First, do not look at that all-time chart. It will scare you if you look at it. We might come up to it, but Filecoin is a decentralized storage system. And then I wanted to share this because of their lofty ambitions that aims to store humanity's most important information. They raised $205 million in their ICO all the way back in 2017. Now, Ben, this is quite a lofty mission statement there. Humanity's most important information. 2017, what do you recall of that ICO, and what was the hype then compared to the hype now?
Well, when Filecoin, when it had the ICO, if I remember correctly, it didn't actually even get listed on Coin Market Cap and tradable though until 2020, I believe. It kind of just showed up on the scene. It showed up in the top 10, and anytime something shows up in the top 10, like ICP did, or Clayton did, or Polkadot did, it always gets your attention. But I think that Filecoin, it was one of these projects that had a lot of hype around it because, who was involved in it? The Winklevoss twins, heavy investors into it. Obviously they pick a lot of winners. Some people might say that, it's because they pick things that they become winners in a sense. They got a lot of money. They can move markets. That's just what happens when you have a lot of market. Doesn't have to, or have a lot of money. Doesn't necessarily have to be manipulation, so to speak. But I think ultimately Filecoin with the IPFS, I think it's got a lot for people to get excited about. And, when you had all these projects in 2017 that were ICOing, there was a lot of hype. And the question is, would they end up becoming major coins, or would the hype die down? You have projects like Neo that had so much hype and it's kind of fallen by the wayside. You have other projects like Polkadot that kind of had a lot of hype show up. They kind of, at least somewhat meet the expectations. Cardano, the long roadmap, but, the price action, not always what people wanted, but it kept developing slowly. Tron was one that started out the gate fast and then fell back down and subsided. When it comes to Filecoin, it's been a project that from the very beginning has seemed to automatically push towards the longer term. Because obviously to really be able to get its utility and use case of being able to, basically have stored files for extra bandwidth, it needs to develop to the point that we actually need that on Earth enough to justify the amount of users. So I think ultimately they've always had a long-term plan. The Winklevoss twins always think long-term, and I think it's going to be pretty good. I think it wasn't one of the very, very most hyped, ICOs. Earlier on, you had Tezos, you had EOS. Those were some absolutely gigantic ones that, didn't really make that big of an imprint on the space, at least as far as EOS and Tezos have went. So yeah, I think Filecoin is going to be around. I think it's going to be the top storage coin for a while. But ultimately, we still got to see the usage play out to be able to get adoption.
Yeah, just to be transparent, I do have a little Filecoin. I kind of share your sentiments there, Ben. I think it can win. But when we look at this price chart, it seems like no one won unless, maybe you're one of these buyers way back here. Now, the chart may look crazy, but let me say some of these numbers out here. $2, $3 during this bear market, all the way up to $191. Some charts, clocking in around 200 and above 200. $200 all the way down now to $5.87. But like Ben said, there is some good pedigree to it. The creator of this Filecoin, Juan Benet, also created interplanetary file system. He went to Y Combinator. He went to Stanford University. We have the Winklevi involved. Now, Randy, with this type of pedigree, a very good backing, strong industry players behind it, can it overmount that huge price action? That is quite the drawdown. Is that going to hold it back, or is this pedigree going to be able to surpass and maybe new highs?
I wouldn't be surprised if, it had a bounce back. I mean, we have had situations where even in the last bull market, you saw that coins didn't even reach their previous all-time high from the bull market before that, right? So I think maybe even in this bull market, if Filecoin doesn't reach its all-time high, doesn't mean in the next cycle that it wouldn't. I think everything is a long-term play, especially with something like Filecoin, where you're dealing with someone that created IPFS, which is something that a lot of people are seeing the need for nowadays, especially because if you're creating NFTs, you don't want to rely on one site to host your image. You want to be able to know your image is really out there, and you're not just relying on one platform. So IPFS is really important. I use IPFS for my wax NFTs. So I've had experience with IPFS for a few years now. Filecoin, especially, it's been around for a long time. The ICO in 2017, it stood the test of time. The fact that it's still around and is still trying to innovate and has the backing of these huge players, it could help push it forward. But again, it comes down to the need for it, the necessity, and the sustainability on whether, again, once mass adoption comes, that's when the networks really get put to the test. If you refer back to last bull market, when Adidas and Bored Ape Yacht Club did a drop, Etherscan literally crashed. There were gas wars on ETH, and that tested ETH's momentum and sustainability for mainstream adoption. I would like to see a stress test like that for Filecoin to see if they could survive. And I do, again, think that us having our documents and being able to store them in a way that, it's on multiple computers and multiple people are kind of securing your data, I like that idea a lot.
All right, great stuff there. Now, and thanks for the explanation on IPFS, or not everyone knows. It is very integral part of the NFT ecosystem. And overmount is a combination of surmount and overcome. I invented words, people here. Shakespeare do it, I can do it too. Now, William, Mr. Web3 himself, what are your thoughts on decentralized storage? Is that something that can thrive on the blockchain? Is this a good use case for the tech?
Absolutely. We live in an information age, right? Where information is the new gold, right? Information is the new oil. Now, with the advent of AI taking over everything, that is even more so the case, right? You need training sets for AI. You need massive amount of information like we never had before. Now, that said, of all the narratives in Web3, what could be more important than the storage narrative? So, that it touches on issues as diverse as censorship, intellectual property, proper monetization of content by creators. People are starting to understand that those monkey JPEGs that they have are not necessarily stored on chain, right? But they're stored on AWS, and that is problematic.
All right, I'm glad. Well, I took that as a personal attack of someone who has a monkey JPEG, but I'm glad you brought up Amazon and these large data centers. Altcoin Daily, William thinks it's cool. Filecoin, Ben, Randy, I'm a degen. I think it's cool. Yeah, decentralized storage. But what about big industry players? Are they going to care about that, or they see AWS, they see Filecoin? Is there any scenario where corporate America chooses Filecoin over AWS?
I think that these big tech players like the Googles, the Amazons, they're chomping at the bit to at least get their hand into something like this. As we know, decentralization is a spectrum, just like censorship resistance is a spectrum. DZ, just like sexuality, is a spectrum.
Just
right?
like
So
me, I am on the spectrum. Yes.
Hey, yes, and
Oh.
so I think these major companies obviously want to taste. Now, as the average person, retail investor, we have to make sure we don't repeat the same mistakes of the past, that all the value accrues to these big players, and they call it decentralization, but in reality, it's just decentralized theater. And I will say, DZ, as a person that wants decentralization, that's why I'm in this space as the future of these protocols, this industry. Decentralization is a double-edged sword, meaning it can hurt growth in the short term, but I think it's good for sustainability of growth in the long term. And what I mean by that is, if there's an issue that comes up, if there's a decision that has to be made, man, the entity that can make a decision and go in that one direction quick, fast, they're the one that can progress faster in the short term. That's why the president of the United States, who's in charge of our troops, there's only one guy. If a war comes up, he's going to need to send that troops there, as opposed to making laws in the United States. Man, that's more decentralized. It takes a while to get through the House and the Senate. So decentralization can be slow for growth in the short term, but it's vital. It's necessary in the long term.
Yeah, and I know Zelensky, he's wringing his hands right now saying, just hurry up. I need more javelins. All right, well, let's talk about spot Bitcoin battle. And of course, we're talking about the major player in this space, and that is Grayscale and their Bitcoin trust. I want to pull up their stock. I don't know if it was this news, but the stock did pretty decent, relatively. 3.7%. Hey, this is a stock market, guys. We got to take that. But if you look at this 5-year chart, you can see that nice little Bitcoin run up there, the nice February, April rally, then the nice October, November rally, and now a little bit further back down to earth from the $50 range all the way down to $13.88. But now we have some oral arguments that are forming, and looks like Grayscale maybe got a little bit of a win against the SEC. This was in front of the DC Circuit Court of Appeals. This is a chief judge and 8 associated judges. So think of more of a tribunal from Star Wars, if you will. And the attorney representing the SEC contended Bitcoin future ETPs are different than spot Bitcoin products. But then the judge said, hey, SEC, you need to explain how this relationship is different, and went to say they move together 99.9% of the time. So where is the gap in the commission's views? William, I think that judge knocked that out of the park. Seemingly, this is just going to be a green light for the ETF to hit, and soon Wall Street is going to be able to trade Bitcoin en masse. Is that really going to happen, or is there going to be some maneuvering behind the scenes that this is still continue to get delayed?
Well, it's going to happen. It's not going to be all roses and strawberries. But like you said, the spot price is tightly correlated. Look, analysts at Bloomberg Intelligence recently were giving this a 40% chance, Grayscale, of winning the suit, a 40% chance. I would say that's probably going up to 60 or 70 or even higher, right? Even so, they're going to appeal this, and it's going to go all the way to the Supreme Court if they lose. I mean, the core argument in favor of approving this spot Bitcoin ETF is just overwhelmingly. I think Grayscale has a great case here. Approving this would be a proactive step to providing consumers with a regulated way to get exposure to Bitcoin. So people like my dad that are not going to have a wallet or anything like that, that are familiar with ETF investing through Vanguard or any of those, they're going to finally be able to put their minds around this and get into it. So I think it's going to be inevitable that this is going to push things to the positive, give Grayscale more positive momentum, and eventually this thing is going to get approved. Like Ben said recently, the U.S. is not going to lose competitive advantage in the capital markets or the derivative markets. We're just not.
All right. Well, Ben, can you reconcile that? I tend to agree there's big money they don't want America to lose, but probably isn't that hard for them to set up an ETF overseas. I mean, is that really the case? Are big banks fighting this Bitcoin spot ETF harder than, other people want to make money off of that?
Well, when somebody fights you very hard, what you need to do is you got to go put your tank top on. You got to go to battle. That's what you have to do. That's it. I put it on. That's right, guys.
Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Look, I'm going to punch a bank in the face. I'm ready now. Look, here's the thing. When it comes to the banks and what their plan is in terms of a Bitcoin spot ETF, all of the banks are trying to get one too. So I think really what happened here with Grayscale is that they got a favorable judge that doesn't like the SEC and is frustrated with a lack of clarity, because you can see from a judge's perspective, a lack of clarity is like their arch nemesis. Judges want complete clarity. Why? Because that allows them to make effortless decisions that aren't based on their biases or their opinions. They can just wash their hands of it and say, here's the decision. This is what the law says. It's very plain, cut and dry. But with the SEC not giving any clarity for this space, like how in the world can these bankruptcy attorneys, or these acquisition attorney or judges, make good decisions? It's just like all of us out here trying to fly by the seat of our pants in a space where we don't have any rules, but yet all the rules are supposed to be implied. So it really is confusing a lot of the times. But the banks themselves have also been trying to get these ETFs approved. I mean, you've got hedge funds, institutions, banks. I think, was it Fidelity? Maybe Fidelity had an ETF. Maybe they possibly were pursuing. There was definitely some major banks that have been pursuing some of these ETFs. And the fact is that it's just time to get one done in the next couple of years. Probably by the beginning of next year, I think, is when we'll see if this happens. We'll probably see the beginning of next year or late this year and actually go live. If you go back, that's what pushed the top back in November of 2022, or 2021. We got the top of Bitcoin was the futures ETF. And we all said, well, that spot ETF, the spot ETF has been the hopium in crypto since 2018. That was what was supposed to lead us out of the last market. And now we've actually got an indication that we could get one sooner rather than later. And it doesn't even have to debut. Just knowing that it's coming for sure, that's going to really send things in the crypto markets, in my opinion, going in the right direction, and could potentially lead to a sustainable rally, during a year where we should see sideways action most of the year.
I'm glad you brought up that bull narrative from 21, late 2020. Altcoin Daily, I want to get your thoughts on that. I recall those conversations, Q4 20, we don't really know where Bitcoin's going to end up. Some people saying, 6 figures, almost likely at that point. One of the narratives was, hey, big Wall Street money's going to come in. This Bitcoin spot ETF is going to be approved, off to the races. Are we evolved where if it does get approved, we won't feel that narrative? We won't, add fuel to that fire, say, hey, $250,000 Bitcoin? Or do you think the second it gets approved, the moon boy comments are going to come out and are we all going to forget what we're saying today and say, hey, big money's coming in, 6-figure Bitcoin imminent? What's your opinion on that?
To me, I think it's important to look back and understand, just looking at the internet, not even cryptocurrency, but to me, the internet is in its early stages. It was only, really got mass adoption late 90s into the 2000s. And we just started to see the dApps that all of us use and like every day today in the last 10, 15 years. Cryptocurrency, man, we're going to look back in 50 years, 100 years. The last Bitcoin won't be mined for over 100 years and realize this was such the early stages that we didn't even fathom, what could be 50 years from now. So I think that in many, many ways, big money isn't here yet, as seen by a lot of traditional players would have told you in 2021 and 2020, invest in the infrastructure. That's the safer play. Turned out all the CeFi, that infrastructure, that's what collapsed. And these decentralized protocols are still thriving as best they can in a bear market. So I think it's still the first inning. It won't be overnight. Once, we get some regulatory clarity that the big money comes in. But remember, cryptocurrency is not going away. It'll be here 50 years from now, 100 years from now in some form. And I think the big money is yet to be here.
Great point on the push to CeFi. We all know how that ended up. Now, Randy, final question on this topic here. I'm kind of just speculating here, and I'm asking you to speculate. No specific price targets, but I want to ask you about the total crypto market cap. 2 big SEC cases, 2 big arguments for either one being a bigger impact. Of course, I'm talking about XRP, and I'm talking about this Grayscale Bitcoin ETF. What is going to move the overall crypto market cap more in a 24-hour period? Is it going to be XRP gets a victory or Grayscale gets a victory?
Ooh, I think maybe, wow, this is difficult. Maybe XRP, just because of the kind of, I don't want to say cult following, but the real big following that it has, that anything XRP gets blown up out of proportion. I do think Grayscale is really good for adoption, though, because again, it gives institutions that weigh in to say, oh, we're investing in Bitcoin in some way, we're getting some sort of exposure. So I do think either way is good for adoption. I mean, XRP has been going on again for a long time. We've been hearing rumors of a W for a long time. So once that news finally comes through and the XRP people get a hold of this, it's going to be an absolute madness. It's going to be maybe up in price, but also I think it's going to start getting implemented. Once that case goes through, we're going to see a lot of implementations of XRP, being that Brad Garlinghouse, he was at the World Economic Forum. They were talking about how great XRP is. If you look at the World Economic Forum, they were actually talking about XRP and how it's going to help governments, how they're going to implement it for CBDC usage as well, which, you know, I'm not a fan of CBDCs, but it is what it is. So I do think XRP could have a great effect on the market, but Grayscale brings a lot of liquidity.
All right, great points there. All right, well, let's talk about Algorand. Well, real quick, Ben, do you agree with that? You know, just yes or no. Do you think XRP victory moves it more? Let's go around the blockchain. I'm asking everybody. XRP or Grayscale, what moves it more?
That's actually a really tough question. I mean, I have to say XRP, because it's going to have a greater effect on the altcoin market, because you got to think about it in terms of Bitcoin's already safe as a commodity. So XRP, if it's declared to not be a security in its current standing, then that's gigantic for the altcoin space. And it's going to alleviate a lot of fears that people have. And I think some of the coins that people might have been a little bit nervous to get into, like exchange tokens, well, if XRP wins a case or Ripple wins a case, they might jump into those. I would just say the altcoin market would have, you know, in general, would probably, you know, have a lot better of a return from the XRP case, I think, as long as it goes favorably.
All right, William, where are you landing on this divide?
I'm going to go with Grayscale. I mean, look at where we've been in the last few months, right? So we've gone from the SEC to issuing a 70-page document saying that, oh no, these spot coin ETF proposals don't meet our standards in fraud prevention and protecting investors, so on and so forth, to the point where we are right now, which is we really see Grayscale sort of has a wedge that it can open and go forward. Now, to get to my point, this is going to open up the door for the boomer money. This is going to open, like I said, this is going to open up the door for people like my dad that are comfortable investing in instruments, in vehicles like ETFs. I think Grayscale definitely.
All right, Altcoin Daily. I know you have strong opinions on, you know, one of these situations. So what do you think is going to move that total crypto market cap more, XRP or Grayscale?
I think Ben of BitBoy Crypto hit it right on the head that this XRP lawsuit represents the altcoins, and Grayscale, specifically GBTC, represents Bitcoin. And even if the worst should happen and they come down heavy on Ripple, on XRP, and it gets heavily not in favor of what they're hoping, that's still now some framework, a path forward that now when altcoins are launching or they're progressing, man, they have a way that they can comply. So that would be huge for the altcoin space.
All right, I tend to think it's also going to be XRP. I think the name brand recognition is going to be major. You see a Google alert, Grayscale wins against SEC, not moving the needle on a lot of people. They see a Google alert, XRP wins against SEC, lot of excitement. I think it would be generated from that. Well,
that'd be wild.
Speaking of excitement, a lot of people are excited about, hey, where the heck is my Algorand going? Where'd all my NFTs go? Hey, Algo, tell me something here. Of course, we're talking about the My Algo wallet hack that happened about a week ago. Let's just pull up the price chart. You can see just on the 7-day, a steady decline on the downside, but nothing major, kind of reminding me of Solana. The community just mostly is just shrugging off the issues. Zach XBT weighing in and, chiding the Algorand Foundation for not being supportive, not coming out with a voice. Even AJ is up in arms about it. We all love AJ Writes Crypto here. But the post they did finally, My Algo posted a critical advisory, and they recommended all users withdraw their funds from the mnemonic wallets stored in My Algos. The mnemonic, like Johnny Mnemonic there. The Algorand Foundation, however, they distanced themselves from My Algo. And their quote was saying it was a third-party wallet provider, and they have no direct association with the protocol or foundation. Ben, what were your thoughts on Algorand's distancing themselves from the MyAlgo wallet hack? Is that a smart move saying, hey, we're not the ones with the problem? Or is it a bad move because now the community sees them kind of turning a cold shoulder to the users who needed it the most?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it's not the foundation's fault, right? I mean, obviously, what's that? Did you say something? Did somebody say
Altcoin?
something? I heard.
Altcoin?
Yeah.
No.
I just liked how Ben's is so like chill and cavalier. I'm just admiring that a man at work.
Yeah. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But look,
He's not afraid
I
to
don't-
show off the shoulders.
I
Sorry.
I respect that.
Okay, relax. Okay, guys, you guys need to relax, chill, calm down, and as
And
Aaron
hit that
Rodgers
like
said
button.
one-
And hit that like button.
As Aaron Rodgers said one time, RELAX. I got my shoulders out. I got my guns out, and it's it is what it
I
is.
feel like
okay?
I should too.
What's that?
I feel like I
Yeah.
should too.
Yeah. Oh my God. Whoa, guys. This is a big flex
Ooh.
here. I'm sorry. Her name is Randy now. We just call her Randy, and she just flexed her guns. That's very concerning. She's very tough. She's from Brooklyn. She will tear you up. But look, here's the thing. I think that when it comes to foundations, I think it's important for people to take responsibility for what you're responsible for. But then, like, here's the balance you have to strike. The balance you have to strike is, and this is what like Jesse Powell has not done a great job of in the past. Now, I used to have some bad feelings towards him over some of the stuff that he said. I've gotten over that because I think he is a good guy. I just don't think he realized when he was talking about this thing, I'll say that he said that he got that totally out of whack. Basically, there was a scam wick on the leverage trading aspect of Kraken. I think it was on Cardano maybe, and a ton of people got liquidated, and it was really, really, really bad. And he was still the CEO at that point of Kraken, and his comments on it were basically, yeah, well, you know what? You were leverage trading. You should have expected it. Like that was the comment. And yes, I do understand that scam wicks do happen on exchanges from time to time. It is a very, very scary thing. That you could get liquidated at any point if you're not careful and you don't have the risk management set up correctly. But yes, that's true. Like, yes, the Algorand Foundation is not responsible for that hack. However, you have to, instead of trying to skirt responsibility and put the blame on someone else, it's just better if they show empathy and say, hey, we're going to make a commitment from this point forward, even though it wasn't our fault. We're going to make a commitment to work with the wallets in our ecosystem and make sure their security is up to standards. And we create some kind of, I don't know, like loose guidelines that would help make them more secure. You got to show the empathy and you got to show the solution. And then people aren't focused on, the way that you look because you're in, you're the chain, you're underlying the wallet. So that's my general thought on it. I don't think they should be taking responsibility for something they're not responsible for, but they shouldn't be blaming users or, blaming other people.
All right. Well, Randy, what do you think about that? Should they have shown more empathy? It took them 1 week to come to, some sort of official statement. Was that too long in your opinion, or was it the right strategy? Again, this was a third-party provider, not them.
I mean, even when Solana had problems, I forgot what the wallet was at the time, but there was a wallet issue where people were literally getting drained, kind of the same thing that's happening with Algo and Solana. Despite the many issues that they have, they came out right away and said, hey, here's a problem with this wallet, even though it's not Solana, that's the issue, it's the wallet. Watch out for that. I do think since it took a week for the Algo Foundation to say anything is a little fishy to me. Especially because people were calling them out on Twitter. And I feel that if you really care about the community and you see something wrong, you warn people right away so that people could get their things in place and make sure to not check all these scam links. Because as this My Algo wallet thing came out, people were actively getting scammed in their emails. I was even seeing some people in the live chat that were saying they got emails from My Algo asking them to switch their wallets, to move their keys. And once you start messing with that and clicking all of these different links, that's when things go wrong. I definitely think that the Algo Foundation, they should have stepped up further. And when they came out, they should have said, here's how we could prevent this. Here's another wallet alternative, possibly. And again, the wallet team, them not knowing still what happened with the hack just makes you a little unsure of what really was the cause and how many people knew about this. Was this something that was maybe pre-planned? Was this something that was out of hand or something that could have been fixed really easily? I feel like there should just be a lot more clarity here for people to understand what's happening. If it was Algo itself, if it was the wallet, people should be able to know. And that's why you have to make sure you're doing your research into everything you use, whether that's MetaMask, MyAlgo, whatever wallet you're using, you should know what it's tracking, what information you're potentially giving up using it, and move it over. Again, if you don't trust the wallet, move it over to cold storage. If you have any money that you are not willing to lose, please move over to cold storage where you know it's safe.
All right. Well, I'm glad you brought up cold storage. William, is this another shining example of why cold storage is important, or would it maybe not have mattered too much? Newer chain, things do break.
No, it's important. And I'll preface this with saying that I mostly agree with the comments by Randy and also Ben. In this trustless Web3 world, the most important commodity that we can have is trust. Number two probably is empathy. And yes, Algorand dragged their feet, but they use this as a teachable moment, right? They use this as a teachable moment to say, hey, look, you probably should start using cold storage, right? So, I think they handled it. I don't want to say the best they could, but I think they've handled it somewhat okay. It's intimidating for people to use hardware wallets. I would say ask a friend to help you, have them help you set it up. Remember, the key never leaves the hardware wallet. The hardware wallet doesn't have the physical capability to give out your information with the USB interface. So there's a little a plug there for
hold on, a little tip there. Wait a minute, I'm updating my wallet. It said type in my seed phrase. Should I not do that?
What's that?
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Never type your seed phrase, folks. Never type your seed phrase.
Yeah. But anyway, I think that Algo did an okay job. I don't think they should be held in as much blame as Zach XPT is, holding.
All right. Well, I'm glad you said teachable moment. I'm gonna share this as a teachable moment. Just talk about a little bit of the history of Algorand. If you look at their price upon launch, you can see that a huge quick drawdown in the beginning. A lot of criticisms were, lobbied their way after launch. They even changed how they were going to launch and slowed down the drip from the team. There you can see just a huge drawdown, albeit, middle of 2019, not the most amount of liquidity. But you can see there, that's typically not what you want to see happen when you have a coin launch, something on as large as this scale. So Altcoin Daily, they had their launch. It took a while, year or two. The community, rallied around it. They don't even care anymore. Now they're making NFTs. They love Algorand. But then we just had this recent attack on, that third-party wallet provider. Can they survive yet another? I mean, are they going to survive till the next bull run? Or is this, maybe down and to the right, slowly but steadily, just because of so many issues?
I mean, they got a shot, right?
Yes. All right. There we go.
No. Let me keep going. Let me keep
okay.
going. I was trying to. I was trying something new. It didn't work.
Oh, I was going to try to yes and you, but I drew a blank there. So
I think that Algorand, if they're going to be a top 10 coin, if they're going to make it bull run cycle from now, then it's going to come down to, are the developers choosing to develop, and then are the users using those dApps? Any dApp platform, that's going to be the key. I think the things that Algorand does have going for it, it is more regulatory compliant. It's all Spectrum, but they are ISO 20022 compliant. They do have the founder from MIT, I believe. Not that that's the end all be all, but they do check a certain amount of boxes. Now, the key is, will the developers build on there? And I think they got a shot.
All right. It's been a great episode. And I want you at home, if you haven't hit that like button, make sure you go ahead and do it. But type in, what would you rather put $100 in? Would it be Filecoin or Algorand? I'm going to read the comments and ape in. I'm going to follow you, chat. So really type in. Let's spread this video. Let's share it. Let's get it out in these communities. But that is all we have time for. And it looks like Ben Armstrong, I think it was the wardrobe change, Ben. In fact, I know it was the wardrobe change. Feel free. I know you got a big meeting 7 to 10 p.m. tonight, but hey, can you still leave us with some parting thoughts?
Yeah, I can leave you with some parting thoughts. We got two of the people who actually did endorsements for our book, Catching Up to Crypto. We got the book tour tonight. Super excited about that. But you know what? The achievement of selling a book is great. But you know what a better achievement is? reaching 1.3 million subscribers on YouTube. Congratulations, Austin and Altcoin Daily, for finally reaching 1.3 million. You've been managing to grow in a bear market, which is amazing because
Trying to be like you, man. Thank you. Appreciate you.
well, if you want to be like me, we're on a treadmill for the last 18 months. So, you know, you at least making some progress. I'm coming. I'm coming for your views.
This is my last episode. This is my last episode.
All right. All right. Well, Altcoin Daily, he's stepping away. He's putting a headband on right now. I can't wait. And here's to 1.4. And if you haven't followed these channels, make sure you go there right now. Links are in the description. That's all we got today, Bit Squad. Until next time, easy out.